Hey, everybody. It's Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. The 27th of November, 2025. Thanksgiving if you're in the U.S., so thank you for showing up. I got a weird new screen here on StreamYard, which is what you use to do all these AMAs. I can see myself like I normally see myself in this, desktop size image. And then right over here, it shows me what I'd look like. Hopefully not on phones. I don't know, because it's super zoomed in. I'm going to get rid of that. You might have to look at it, but I don't want to look at it. Anyway, thanks for showing up today. This is an AMA, a Coinmetro AMA. I'm still the CEO here at Coinmetro. And so I'm tasked with answering your questions. Simple as that. So I know it's Thanksgiving, so we might have less people watching today, or maybe more. Who knows? Maybe they're going to throw me on the big screen with the rest of the family and just piss everybody off, turn football off or whatever they were watching, put on a Coinmetro AMA. Probably a good way to never see your family again. And if that's your goal, cheers. All right, here we go. So normally I would just jump into the questions. I see Paul saying happy Thanksgiving, though. So happy Thanksgiving, Paul. I normally just jump into the questions, but rather than do that, I do have a cheat sheet this week or this month. It's not monthly. It used to be weekly. It hasn't been weekly for a long time, but for some reason I still felt I should say weekly. I'm just going to jump into the cheat sheet. How's that? Let's go into the cheat sheet. Let's go down the whole list. It's a long one. It's not Cliff Notes this week. It's a novel. And then once I finish, ask some questions and I'll answer them. Funny enough, I was logging into StreamYard today. Like I said, we use StreamYard. And it says they're going to Mars. They actually have a product called Mars, multi-aspect ratio something. I was thinking about suing them, but it's Thanksgiving, so I don't want to do that. So let's jump right in. I'm going to get to the cheat sheet first, and then I'll get to you guys' questions, right? Plus, I also figured out that StreamYard now has sounds I can play. So that's pretty cool. It could be, it might be cruel. We'll find out in about an hour if it's cruel or not. So without further ado, the cheat sheet, updates from Coinmetro. I think that might have been good for a joke. Actually, you know what? This is good for the anyway, sorry. I'm going to mess around with this the whole show, so I'm going to apologize right out the gate. So first off, on my cheat sheet is licensing and fundraising, a topic near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure everybody else's. I don't even need to read the fundraising one, but I'm going to look at it anyway because there might be something I forgot. So two things really when it comes to this is the first one is definitely, I would still consider fundraising, but it's also biz dev. So whoever normally jumps in here and asks about biz dev, here you go. So we've been talking about this strategic marketing partnership that we've been working on. Someone from our team has been on it. Well, everybody knows Alec. Alec has been on it for quite some time. And I got involved just recently, going back and forth, trying to get this contract over the line. I think maybe even tomorrow, but sometime probably next week at the latest, we're going to get this thing over the line. So this is something that's going to allow us to expand the amount of users that are hitting us on the app stores, the amount of new KYC users, the amount of people downloading the app, etc. There's estimations of 700 to 1,000 KYCs a day once we ramp up. We'll start off with about a fifth of that. And then over time, I would say probably a relatively short amount of time, 3 months or so, we'll be ramping up. There'll be more expenditure, money being spent by this new partner of ours to increase the amount of signups. We have a revenue share with them. The more clients that come on, the more revenue we make, more revenue they make. It's the first thing on my list to talk about. It's a big one. 1,000 users right now, 1,000 KYC users. If it follows the same metrics we've been following in terms of first deposit, revenue, et cetera, lifetime value, those first 1,000 could almost double our current revenue. So the first 1,000 would essentially double our revenue. The second 1,000 would then go 30%. And we at some point, probably within the first 6 months, we'd be about 8% month on month or something like that in terms of growth. And of course, I would assume that the expense, the amount we're spending, not we are spending, but the amount that our partner's spending, and then us as well, once we're able to have the cash flow to do so, would only increase that over time. So that's a big one. I'm putting an applause on that. I told you I'm going to mess with these sounds. I'm sorry. And then traditional fundraising. So our fundraising in general, we raised just around 2.5. We were looking for 7. The other 4.5 was essentially earmarked from some of our current shareholders. And it looks like we're finally going to get that over the line. So I expect to finalize this round by the end of January, but it could even happen before the end of the year. So that's what I'm working on, or what I have been working on for quite some time. It'll be exciting to finally close that chapter. And also definitely that deserves all of these things deserve a round of applause. I don't want to click it that many times, piss everybody off. So licensing front. So on the VARA front, that's the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority out of Dubai. We expect the decision within a few weeks. We're back and forth with them a few times on our submission, answered all their questions, answered everything they've sent to us. They've given us different deadlines, done and dusted. On MiCA, we're essentially ready to file. We're waiting for the regulator to send us access to a portal where we can actually do the filing. More than likely, we expect this to happen. Well, it's obviously kind of in their court, the ball's in their court, so to speak. But I would expect this to happen before the holidays, maybe even first week of December. Maybe we get surprised and we get access tomorrow. I have no idea. But I would say before the 15th of December, hopefully we're able to file. If it was up to us, we could more than likely file this afternoon into tomorrow because we're essentially ready with documentation. Cool. So let's talk about tech debt. Do I have anything? Tech debt. I thought that was a good tech debt one. I mean, if you have tech debt, if you don't, then maybe it's, I don't know what, maybe it's something else. Just, I can't, I didn't look at all wait till I have time to go through these sounds. I'm telling you, it's going to get serious. Okay. So Orders Go revamp. Orders Go is essentially the system it's our matching engine. Let's put it that way. It's what matches one order to another. It's the kind of lifeblood of the exchange, and it's how we fill orders, essentially. Orders Go. So Orders Go revamp. So that's the core of our trading system. It has been being rebuilt, essentially sharding out our order system so that we don't rely on one system for all pairs, but we rely on a sharded or a small version of that system for each and every pair. Thus, if there's an issue on one pair, it doesn't affect the rest of the exchange. And we can also handle significantly higher throughput. That's going to be completed within 3 weeks, everybody. That's 3. Count them. 1, 2, 3. 3 weeks. That's exciting. This update is going to allow back-end level control per trading pair. So just mention that. It'll increase how much volume we can support per trading pair. It'll improve speed and efficiency of the underlying engine. And it's also going to allow us to unlock some future products, or give us the ability to unlock future products that otherwise would have clogged up our system, essentially. Or in the past may have, well, like we wanted to release them, but we couldn't, basically. Number 2, on the rapid progress on tech debt. I was going to do the streaming guy again, but trading platform fixes. So several key improvements, updated stop loss and take profit mechanism. So these are being deployed. Live display of fees, correct grouping of orders in the order book, and proper linking between trading pairs. So those are all being worked on and all kind of coming out over the next few weeks. Number 3 on this list is staking stability upgrades. I think you guys probably saw this massive post by Alec, but here we go. The tech team completed a full review of staking, and 6 major fixes were implemented. We eliminated reward miscalculations in edge cases. We removed occurrences and negative balances and fixed issues with real-time reward accrual. There is another project in the background, which you probably read about, which is to rewrite the entire staking engine. That's scheduled for Q1. The goal between now and Q1 is to make sure that the current module, the current staking platform, works as intended, and also that it's somewhat optimized from what it was previously. Number 4 on this list: email delivery delays. So there's a technical audit done because of the logic behind the queue system and some additional logging, so that when something does happen, we can quickly find out what it is and fix it. Issues were confirmed, and they originate from our CRM provider. We're now working closely with them to fix them. Project update and backlog cleared. Number 5. This is also a big one. All previously overdue project updates have now been delivered. So every token that had a rebrand, they all did it. For that was the 2025 bull run for you, rebrand. So you can start from zero and you go up 10%, and you're up 10%, even if you're down 90. Rebrand, awesome. So rebrands are done. Everything else is done. This puts us in a pretty strong position to be able to move faster for new developments in the market, new listings, etc., rather than having to constantly send our listing crew back to amend old or legacy listings. So let's talk about product releases and the streak we're on. All right, what do I got? I gotta have something for this. Does this make sense? That might mean we're on triage. I don't know. I got to learn sound effects, man. I don't know. I'm like I got Asperger's for sound effects. I don't know. Successful product release streak. Here we go. Number 1, bundles launch smoothly. But boom, that was a big one for us, I think. Bundles. Bundles were released on schedule. Harold, where are you, man? One of the smoothest launches we've ever had. Meaning internally, from when the ideation happened to when product requirements and tech requirements were laid out, to when tech picked up the project, pushed it out, Q&A. Definitely one of the best we've ever seen. We're getting really good at these things, which is really nice to see. There were some small bugs, some edge cases that were quickly identified. I saw one that could have been a major issue that was rectified within an hour, and that was also great to see. So now users using bundles will be able to stay aligned with market trends, nice and easy. They can jump right into a bundle. There'll be more and more bundles released over time. And every single time someone buys a bundle. No, you're not bumbling, you're bundling. Every time someone buys a bundle, they're also buying a bit of XCM. So a little bit of buy pressure there for our favorite token. I know everybody's favorite token. Special shout out to our new Q&A hire for this really nice release. So yeah, shout out to you. Hold on, I gotta have something. What do I got? Oh no, that's laughter. Thank you. Number 3, new trading. Oh, sorry, internal transfers. Metro tags are coming. Awesome. Avatars, etc. So release is slightly delayed from when we wanted to launch in November. But it will go live in the next 3 weeks. I think we're targeting roughly like the 16th or 17th of December for that bad boy to go live. That may seem like a small thing, internal transfers, but it's also something we can build off of and basically create like a PayPal-like interface that allows you to send crypto, etc., to people that don't have accounts. It's a way for us to gain new users. It's a way for users to be able to quickly move assets to their kids, to their wife, to their husband, to their whatever, and be able to do it in a unique and fun way. So that's coming as well. Number 3, new trading platform, beta coming in December. This is also a big one. So now that 90 some odd percent, like 98% or something, maybe 99.8, I don't know, it's high, of our users are now on the mobile app, because most of our users are, regular people. You open up your phone, you do what you got to do, and that's it. Who wants to go on their laptop? Of course, we have people that want to go on their laptop. And so we've been designing a new web interface that's much more of a detailed experience, much more geared towards, let's say, heavier users. And so first beta release of that is coming out. We're going to try to get it out before the end of this year. It may tail into January because it's a big release. But you'll be able to switch between old and new platforms because it's a beta. No more Cloudflare checks, so none of that nonsense on the app as well. So that's awesome. Faster, smoother UX, cool. Fully customizable interface. You'll be able to drag and drop different modules and stuff, so you can create your desktop exactly as you want it. You're welcome, Harold. And a ton of new features. A ton. This has been a kind of side. It was a side project initially, and then it became an actual project we worked on for months and months and months. We've used AI, all kinds of different things to get this thing to where it is now, and it's looking amazing. Spot and margin will come in Q1, so that essentially everything will be remade about the web platform, except for, let's say, spot and margin, which is coming in Q1. So other highlights from the past month. Dun, 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 dun. Other highlight. Can I get an applause? I get an applause. Thank you, everybody. Listings. Okay, so we are processing steadily with listings as scheduled. Recent additions, Sui, Ondo, WorldCoin. So WorldCoin was ready to roll today. We had to make a small adjustment because of regulatory stuff in the UK. Man, people in the UK must be really happy about their local regulator. But anyway, so it's coming. It's coming. I heard from a birdie it might actually happen tomorrow, but WorldCoin is coming. TON, ready for listing next week. And yeah, WorldCoin going live as soon as we get that regulatory nod. Now, this one's cool. Golden ticket. So I don't know if you guys read about the golden ticket. It is essentially a way for a listing to get listed for free, and a really cool marketing campaign, advertising marketing campaign for Coinmetro. Take a sip of water before this one. Basically what it is people were voting in Telegram. I'm sure you saw it. There was probably some bots involved, probably. You know, I don't want to say for sure, but there's maybe some bots involved. But a lot of people came to our Telegram. A lot of people joined the community. Now, next step is the top 3 are now going to Discord. They should be there right about now. So you can start voting on Discord. In order to vote on Discord, you have to connect your Discord to your Coinmetro account, and you need to be a KYC verified user. So no bots. Well, if somebody can figure out how to make a bot that KYCs a ton of users, I don't know. I mean, go for it. But more than likely, no bots. So there will be legitimate voting from legitimate Coinmetro accounts, and the winner, well, ends up being the winner. So it has officially started. Voting has started. Get over quickly. You want to get over now so that you can get your vote in. You know, handle your business. Number 3, new XRP staking plans. So XRP off-chain staking up to 6% on XRP holdings. We remember, guys, we were one of the only exchanges that didn't delist XRP when it was going through its, let's say, court nightmare in the US. And I think that's big. And because of that, we want to continue to support XRP. So I don't think there's any competing plans out on the market. I've seen a few off-chain plans, but I don't think anything competes with this. And it obviously allows us to acquire new users as well, and also support existing users that may be still sitting on their XRP, waiting for it to go to whatever number they think it might go to. Number 4, XCM raffle, milestone number 2 achieved. We just hit the second milestone. Winners will be notified tomorrow. Leaderboard has been updated. So if you haven't, if you've been clicking, what is it? Control F3? I forget what, F5. If you've been F5ing like crazy and it no longer says F5, it almost, it's I don't know what it says now, but just click it again. It's been updated. There's still several milestones to go. So, keep on buying XCM. I mean, you were going to do that anyway. So I didn't need to say that, obviously. Cool. Let's roll into questions, because what did I take? That was 17 minutes worth of updates. That was nice. And big shout out to Alec for the cheat sheet. Thank you very much. All right. Chavez Perkins. I had a year off of crypto, but returned the other day. Glad to see Coinmetro is still the best. Well, I mean, come on, man. Of course. Why would that change? Happy Thanksgiving, Paul. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody watching. Even if you're not in the US, Thanksgiving, regardless of what actually happens, back when Thanksgiving supposedly happened, somebody got smallpox. I don't know. The idea of Thanksgiving is a great one. Sit around with people you like, hopefully love, maybe, and just talk about what you're thankful for. I can tell you that what I'm thankful for is I'm thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for all of all the great people that work at Coinmetro, all the amazing people that have done amazing things and continue to do amazing things, and sometimes stay up real late at night and wake up real early in the morning and just keep crushing it out of the park. I'm super thankful for that. I'm thankful for all of you, all our clients that have supported us for so long. We wouldn't be here without either of those two groups. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. So that's my Thanksgiving greeting. Can we expect Telestai staking or collab? I'd love to see it. So I was planning to kind of move forward with more of a collab earlier this year. And unfortunately, I just personally haven't had the ability to get that ball rolling. But I do think, look, we like to support the assets we list. It's as simple as that, especially those that we list that we may be the only exchange, or where we have any type of, let's say, connection with, and when I say connection, I mean like relationship, not necessarily business connection with the underlying asset. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it. Hey, Debbie. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, by the way. Hi, Kev. Any update on Telestai staking? Alex mentioned it could be done before the end of November. Well, you got to talk to Alec about that one. I think we definitely want to add more things to staking. Now, with the staking update, the full update that's coming in Q1, it's going to make that a lot easier. And I think we'll see a lot more momentum into staking once that happens. It looks a little strange for me on YouTube. Something wrong with the screen ratio. Oh, yeah? Am I like super zoomed in? Yeah, because I saw that. Let me see what we got. All kinds of crazy layouts. Let's see if I have any. Wow, avatars. No. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into this, to be honest, because there's really no. They did definitely change a lot in this interface, but I can see myself as normal. So I apologize if I'm like all zoomed in. Fortunately, I did some cold plunging today and everything, so it shouldn't be all that scary. But I'll look into it for the next one. Also, when can we expect more staking options? All right, just answered that one. Staking back for UK clients, yeah, man, the UK, the FCA is on a tear. I think we are in communication with them specifically about Mars. I think when it comes to XCM, and we're trying to make that work. So I don't really have a timeline, but we're trying to make it work. Do you have contingency plans if we enter a prolonged bear market with low activity? Can you operate bare bones for a couple of years? I mean, we have. That is for sure. I think I would say yes. I mean, not that we've talked about, not that I've necessarily been involved in talks specifically about prolonged bear market, but have been in many talks about being able to kind of keep the business going in the event of whatever, whether that be bear market, whether that be, whatever, I don't know, anything that could potentially shorten, lessen our treasury, and put us in a position where we need to optimize. So yes, I believe we could, especially with filling out this fundraising round. It would essentially give us runway with zero revenue at current expenses for nearly 2 years. And I think in the event that something like that would happen, where we saw that our revenue drastically dropped, we probably would optimize a bit more on the cost side. And one of the things, I mean, just between me and you, one of the things that actually costs us a ton of money is obviously the way our current tokenomics function. Now, we all love the burn, but in a situation where we absolutely needed to make sure that the company was able to continue, we would potentially need to adjust how those tokenomics function for the short term. Not saying we're doing that, but underneath, in kind of communication to this question, that is something we could do that would bring in significant revenue for us, very quickly. A few crypto companies are relocating from Europe to Middle East due to friendlier regulations. Is it something you have considered? Well, we are in the process of acquiring our license. The thing is if you move from Europe, physically move, whatever, right? I mean, it doesn't really change anything. But if you want to operate within Europe under MiCA, you need a MiCA license. So regardless, you're in Europe. I mean, you might not be there, say, physically. Well, it depends on where you got the license, because you probably need some form of physical presence. But you might not have your whole business there, but you're still tied to all those European regulations when it comes to European clients. And so Europe is very important for us. Most of our clients sit in Europe. Let's say geographically Europe. That would include UK. So I'm not saying European Union, but when it comes to European Union, it's still probably collectively still where most of our clients sit. So we will definitely be going into Dubai and in the Middle East and into other regions, but I don't see us leaving Europe behind. But in a situation where we have our VARA licensed entity, in the future US licensed entity, our European licensed entity, potentially, in other jurisdictions as well, then anything that, let's say, MiCA would apply to people in Europe that use Coinmetro services or Coinmetro Europe services, right? Wherever Coinmetro Europe may be, versus someone who lives elsewhere who may be connected to another one of our entities and thus, doesn't have to fall into European regulation. What will MiCA do for Coinmetro and that Coinmetro can't do now? Well, It's a good question, Paul. So in terms of the offering of product, MiCA is kind of like an umbrella, and there are many smaller licenses, many permissions that you can acquire under the broader MiCA license. And those could include offering, let's say, some type of portfolio management service. It could include not necessarily under MiCA, but you now need an EMI license, or you will need an EMI license to be able to provide most fiat services under MiCA, which we will also have to acquire, which will mean we could expand what we can offer under fiat services, under some stablecoin services. Again, we could apply for additional licenses to be able to offer securities, to be able to offer trading of futures, derivatives, etc. So all that can be possible under MiCA. The real thing, though, at least initially, is that MiCA license is valuable. So in order for us to raise the type of capital we will need to raise in order to become competitive across the board with any of our competitors, that definitely helps. That MiCA license is worth, 9 figures when attached to a properly managed and running business. And that's a big piece. What's the future for XCM? Can you foresee? Will it ever get out of the 5 to 8 cents range? I think it absolutely gets out of that range. As market's jittery. I think we can all see that. Yeah, Bitcoin's obviously still relatively near all-time highs, 40% off. Well, it was 40% off all-time highs. But still, price-wise, it's a big price, right? So people generally look at Bitcoin, especially those that haven't looked at the market for a while, and be like, well, last time I looked, it was 20K. It's 80 now. Why isn't everything else, to the moon? The fact that there's, 45 million assets is definitely part of that. Coinmetro, the real question is the future for XCM is the future for Coinmetro. If Coinmetro continues to operate, we continue to get better and better at everything we do, which we definitely have been, and we continue to grow, then XCM will grow. It's as simple as that. Those two are definitely correlated 1-to-1. I definitely think it's going to break out of the 5 to 8 cents range. I think realistically speaking, even now, I would say XCM should be in the 20 to 30 cent range. Speaking about the value of the business, the network, what XCM does, the tokenomics, I think that's where it should be. I think after MiCA, it should be 5 to 10 times higher than that. And now I'm not giving you a prediction on where I think it's going to be, right after we get a MiCA license. What I'm telling you is where I think what the value is of that token, the ecosystem, and thus Coinmetro. Update on one missing burn. I don't specifically have an update on the burn, but I know we'll get caught up. That thing is relatively automatic. Sometimes our burn wallet falls low in funds as well, or the wallet we pull to burn from. And so we have to, repatriate capital there. But I'll take a look with liquidity next week and see, or tomorrow, and see if what exactly is the status there. You can always tag me in Telegram, and I'll respond there. Yeah, well, those are definitely coming back. They should be back already, actually. Fireworks sounds. That's a good question. Let's see. They don't allow you to search. So yeah, you can upload your own. So I guess I'll have to try to upload some of my own. But yeah, I don't see. We have this. I think that's an explosion. I don't know. That's what it says, at least. We have the gun. We got the gunshot. That's a gunshot. That's really far away. It's a really far away gunshot. We have the bounce. This one. But no fireworks. Weird enough, there's no fireworks. That's kind of weird. I don't know why we don't have fireworks. We'll have to complain, to be honest. Yeah, that one's coming. Debbie. What's the secret to health and longevity, Kevin? You look slimmer and younger. Thank you, Deep Philippe. I appreciate that. I don't know. I wish I knew. Sometimes you try to do so many things, you just don't know what works. I sauna and cold plunge have become a part of my life ever since kind of moving to Estonia. More so sauna initially. Now definitely sauna and cold plunge almost every day, pretty much every day. that definitely helped. That's one of that combination is the only thing I think I found in my life that can control stress for me personally. Makes me sleep better, makes me focus more, and kind of clears up skin and et cetera, et cetera. When it comes to slimming up, I've just been trying to eat a little bit less, move a little bit more. I guess that's about it. I don't think there's much. It's not about dieting or like that. It's just you gotta eat less calories, and move a bit more, or eat more calories and lift a bunch of weight if you want to. I maybe gain weight there. I guess you wouldn't look slimmer at that point. Re-internal transfer seems like a good time to ask about savings accounts for our kids. That's one of the things that can be built onto internal transfers, because in essence, to create buckets or baskets or wallets or whatever inside of your own account, we need the ability to be able to transfer to that other account. You'll see it obviously in your interface as one account, but for us, it's a separate account. It's a sub account. So it's a separate account, but tied to your main account. So that's step one to get to that point. And that very well may be kind of a step 2. It's not like that's step 10. It should happen relatively quickly afterwards. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate you listening to them and coming to the AMAs. No update yet on a U.S. office. I think we're getting closer and closer to some type of federal regulation in the U.S., though, which is definitely something we would need to have before we can go down that road. For me to vote, well, I honestly, I was trying to follow. So my famous story about CASPA is that initially when they first launched, I got so much spam about listing them and how great they were on X, on Telegram. I just stopped looking at it, because to me, that was a sign that it was probably nonsense or like pump and dump or whatever, so I didn't even look at it. To my, I probably could have done well if I looked at it, but I didn't. I don't know. I think I'm leaving this one up to the communities. I think everybody wins with this golden ticket, to be honest. So I'll leave it up to the community. Amen. Yeah, I don't know. What I've heard is that they are pleasantly surprised at the results they're able to get. We just can't see the results because there needs to be a kind of private tunnel that they can use to think of it almost like a zero knowledge proof, where AGI ARC can essentially verify the results without having to see the code. And I think that's up to ARC right now. That's up to them. So whether we actually get it by December 5th, I don't know. But they said they were pleasantly surprised by the results. So I don't think they're lying. So we'll have to see. But I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see those results. I'm anxious to see thought get some of the recognition, regardless of what those results are, that I think they deserve. Awesome. I'm glad it looks good on somebody's end, Debbie. Pete, I was laughing at this because I thought somebody was just making a prediction, but now this is our delivery man in tech, man. This is the guy who makes sure everything gets over the line. So yeah, starting tomorrow at 7:30, we start sharding. Amazing. Don't shard yourself, but we will be sharding. That's great. When do you expect CN to be a top 10? Hard to answer that question. I think for me, I don't really care. Personally, I don't care because I don't know. The top 10 could change. Top 10 now might be, I don't know how many billions a day. Top 10 5 years from now could be significantly more than that. Could be less. I don't know. It really depends on where the market goes. For me, I want to make sure that we do right by our clients, that we do right by our shareholders, that we do right by our token holders, and all those people are content and are rewarded for all the struggle, all the sacrifice, and all the and the time that they've been, the patience that they've had. And if that puts us in top 10, amazing. Well, yeah, that's a challenge to make sure that Mars is MiCA compliant. And so we're working on it. We're envisioning new ways to make Mars even more exciting, and going down a checklist to make sure that, it works with MiCA and hopefully with the UK as well at the same time. Can you please confirm that Alex will get a big XCM bonus? Man, as trust me, once we finalize this round, my goal is always, I want our best performers to be treated better than they would be anywhere else, because I don't want to lose them. So we did do some XCM bonuses around. And so I think everybody was a big fan of that. That was relatively recently. Get everybody a little piece of the pie. So they're also very much focused on XCM going to the moon or Mars or wherever it ends up. So yeah, he absolutely deserves it. So do many others, that's for sure. Do you think we'll see IBANs at some point? I know it's probably a stretch due to regulations in getting a banking license, but it could be a great way. We don't need a banking license for IBANs. Under the EMI that we will need to acquire under MiCA, we could technically offer IBANs now. It's just more of a cost issue for us, meaning implementation, et cetera. It's just not something, it's not necessarily something that is going to make us money straight out of the gate. So we need to focus on other things. But with that EMI license, we would absolutely be able to offer IBANs. And that is kind of in conjunction with cards. And we found finally a way to offer cards and make money. Now it's just about getting the resources we need to get the cards over the line. So definitely a 2026 thing. But yeah, IBANs are coming. It's within the range of possibility. I wouldn't say it's not. There's a lot of macro right now, though, that is, painful. And I think that's part of it. Macro, and I explained this in one of those short videos, or I didn't really explain it. Don't really have a lot of time to explain it, but the kind of faucets off in Japan, that pulls a lot of liquidity out of global markets, which in turn pulls a lot of excess liquidity out of risk-on markets, Bitcoin still being a risk-on market. And so, yeah, I think it's still possible. If I had to bet on it, though, I bet it doesn't happen. I saw that Reddit post, where the guy predicted kind of peak to peak was like 1,000 days, then 300 days, and 1,000 and 300. And he said the peak was going to be October 6th. It's been literally the peak since now. And I got to tip my hat to that guy. Of course, maybe he just asked when were the peaks and ran it through AI and found a pattern. I don't know, but hats off for sure to that prediction. So yeah, it's very much possible that we don't see Bitcoin hit another all-time high this year. What I would say, the prediction about this might be, the 4-year cycles were over, and this might be the tail end of a 4-year cycle. Well, 4-year cycles are definitely over with, and this may turn out to not. Maybe the last 4-year cycle we had was literally almost 5 years ago, and we've kind of been changing since then. But I think those 4-year cycles are gone, especially for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to become much more of a fundamental asset than it ever has been. And we probably will see more and more of a disconnect from Bitcoin and the rest of the market as that happens. In your opinion, will a MiCA license be among the biggest milestones CM has managed? Can the added procedures and checks required be handled with existing staff? We can handle with existing staff. There will be the need for additional staff, but mainly because of regulatory requirements, meaning wherever we acquire that license, we may need to have, we will need to have an office. We'll need to have some type of local, whether it be a risk manager plus somebody with, so there'll be a few hires needed. Won't significantly increase the burn. It is definitely one of the biggest milestones when it comes to the regulatory compliance side, for sure. When we talk about value, it's going to be one of the biggest value adders that Coinmetro has ever seen. It is also a major milestone, not just from compliance and regulatory, because it means product has to get adjusted. It means tech needs to adjust. There's a lot of things that need to happen. So yeah, I would say it is. And most of the procedures we were following, to be very honest, most of the checks we were already, in fact, some of the things that are under MiCA, it means we have to lower some of the standards that we had. So in that respect, it makes things a bit easier for us. But yeah, burn will increase a little bit, that's for sure, but not by much. We're probably talking 8 to 10% max, but I think it might even be less than that. But it is a massive milestone. I agree, man. I'm a fan. I think we need to list it. Yeah, if you could, thumbs up would be great. I enjoyed the thumbs up. Debbie came in with hers. But make sure you click the button, though, too. You got to click the button, or else I don't think it's official. And it's like it never happened. Yeah, I wouldn't call it, it's nothing like Bitcoin, but yes, I do believe we need to get it listed. It's been on our short list for a long time, but we couldn't get it listed at some point in the past because there was nobody to custody it, I think, and to build up the custody infrastructure wasn't something we could tackle right away. But I agree, we need to list it. We are. I think, we have automation, and our automation handles a certain amount of those. I think we will scale up as these campaigns scale up. So we're going to start out with a fifth of that. We can handle that. As we start to scale out, we can quickly scale out those pieces of the team that need to be scaled out in order to handle the onslaught of new users. Absolutely. We can do it. Would we qualify if Trump passes no capital gain for U.S. companies when CM opens U.S. office? For XCM? Yeah. Yeah, I assume we would. I don't think I don't even know if I've seen whatever's been drafted. I know I've heard him talk about it. I don't think there'll be like some type of date, like it had to be before here. I doubt we would see that. So I would assume, yes, XCM, that would be off XCM or your shareholder. Oh, actually it wouldn't be the shareholding unless, maybe if we tokenize the shares, then you also get no capital gains on the shares. I don't know if that would be written in the law. Probably wouldn't be, would be a nice loophole. So we'll have to see. Okay. That's weird. We only have one listed. Double the exposure. I guess that's good. All right. Well, we're 41 minutes in. I answered all the questions, I think. If I missed your question, you should pop back in and pop the question in either on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or X. Sorry, Elon, again, wherever you may be. But I think I got through all of them. And I got through the cheat sheet, which is obviously probably the most important thing. I'm going to go through the cheat sheet real quick here just to make sure I didn't miss anything while you guys are thinking about what kind of questions you want to ask me. But again, Discord voting for our golden ticket listing is on. So get to Discord, connect your Coinmetro account, and vote. Let's see who the real winner is without bot interference. Let's talk again about the fact that we should be closing out our fundraising round, $4 to $4.5 million rolling in by end of January. I do think there is potential we get this done before the end of the year, and that this big strategic joint venture with a company that's going to be sending us a lot of KYC clients through the app stores. Those are probably some of the biggest things. Everything on there was big, to me at least, but I think those were big. Okay, here we go. So here's a question. Insight on Cadena Fork. I have zero. Well, as far as like insider information, I have zero. I was just as surprised as you guys were when the news came out that they decided to kind of walk away. It boggles my mind a little bit why they didn't approach us, other exchanges, miners, whatever, before doing that and trying to find a way to not have to make that announcement or make a completely different announcement, which was kind of wrapped up in their announcement. But I think it just wasn't done in the right way, at least in my mind. And so it came off just bad, where I think it could have been, look, the whole point of this was to decentralize finance, et cetera. And we're now going to give the chain up to, miners, to make a combination of miners, I don't know, exchanges, whatever, project owners, and allow them and you as a token holder to be able to dictate the future of the chain. And yeah, I don't know. It boggles my mind a little bit. And, we had this blowback because we supported the community chain. As a business, all the hashing power basically went to the community chain. So how could you even support it would just be an impossibility. You go where the clients are. You go where the majority wants you to go. We even got threatened with a lawsuit because we were showing the Cadena symbol for the token. Like, what are we supposed to do? Show a different symbol so no one knows what it is? But I'm glad that it was kind of, maybe, I don't know, the execution of the fork, whatever, maybe it wasn't the best, blah, blah, blah. But I'm glad somebody that collectively people stepped up. I think that shows the beauty of decentralization and the beauty of crypto in general. And one of the reasons why I got involved in crypto, right? Because it's just, if this was traditional finance and that happened, it just would have died and that's it. And so that I think is a silver lining. When can we see a market maker or LP on FET? Good question. I'll have to go through the list. We constantly are back and forth with LPs. Market makers is really up to FET because unless there's enough revenue there for us to be able to put the market maker on, it's up to the project at hand to basically pay for market making. And if that's not it, then we need to find a liquidity provider. And we're always essentially, at least on a monthly basis, back and forth between our liquidity providers to see if they can support additional assets. But I'll get an update on FET. You got to get me on Telegram, tag me in the main channel, and I'll see if I can get an update for you. When we get to Mars 2.0, I guess we will stop the APR on staking on XCM. Yep, in current Mars. Will Mars 2.0 from day one value-wise start on the same level? That's hard to predict because the current modeling, because it may change, whether that's because of regulation or just a better idea, is that we will create these pools for every single trading pair. And then those pools will be gamified. If this pool does more than volume than this per month, then 33% of all collected commissions will go into a Mars pool. That's the idea currently, or has been the idea. So we haven't yet set the thresholds for what those gamified levels will be. So it's hard to know. The goal obviously will be that kind of the potential is day one that yes, it'll beat the current APR. Now, of course, XCM getting higher in price, those assets increasing in value, all that stuff plays a role. And it's very hard to kind of have some type of simulation to figure out exactly what everything needs to look like for it to be better or worse from day one. But the goal will be that it's better. And over time, I think it's inevitable that it becomes better because there will, under this model, given the fact that you now have access to multiple assets. Alex mentioned increases in clients. Do you have any numbers? Don't have numbers. I'll see if I can get those on the cheat sheet for next time. But we have definitely seen increases. That's for sure. Our golden ticket project going to support their books on Coinmetro. That is definitely part of the offering. We want to see that happen. We can't force anybody to do that. However, I think there is. Actually, if I look at the rules, I think they do have to agree to pick up market making, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll have to go back and check the rules, but I'm pretty sure. Some social posts in the final voting would be great, so we have something to share. Absolutely, that's going to happen. I'm sure Alex is going to get that done. Do you still expect an alt season? If so, what will be the catalyst? How long do you think it would last? Well, alt season as we've had them in the past, no, that's never going to happen again. Alt season meaning like Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin sees some sell action, that money goes into Ethereum pops, Ethereum finds a range at a new high, and then profits are taken and goes into altcoins. All altcoins, basically, like the whole altcoin market just goes up. That's impossible at this point. There's just too many altcoins. I think we're going to see, and I mentioned this in previous AMAs, we're going to see thematic altcoin alt seasons. So just like you'd see in traditional markets where maybe tech, or healthcare or whatever, because of some fundamental thing that happens or something that moves the market in a mass scale, like, right, you saw AI, for example, NVIDIA kind of carrying the rest of tech with them, etc. We will start to see that. The more fundamental and less hype driven. It's always going to be hype driven. Stocks are hype driven as well, by the way. But the more fundamental we get and the less hype driven we get, we will see different sectors of the crypto market have their quote unquote alt seasons. I do not think it's going to be as easy to time as it used to be. It's not going to be that general 4-year cycle, but absolutely we will continue to see it. I think we can still see an alt season. We'll probably see many of them. I've talked about this in the past. This isn't just about tooting, XCM's horn, but infrastructure is going to always be going to be a thing for years to come in crypto. People building out the new crypto infrastructure or even old school infrastructure that powers the market. Exchanges is one of those. There are other infrastructure plays, but exchanges is definitely one of them. What do you typically ask of them when you list them? Well, for the golden ticket, it's a bit of a different story, but they still have to go through checks to make sure they're not security compliance checks. We go through general kind of, let's call it KYB, know the business checks on the on the chain, we go through technical checks, etc., make sure that, we don't expect things to get hacked or whatever. When it comes to our normal process, it's that plus more. So we have kind of a committee. The committee goes through and checks a whole slew of things. And then based on those checks, there's a score. And if that score is above a certain score, then we will offer a listing. That's essentially how it works from a high level. XCM burns and buybacks need to be better promoted. Yeah, though, MiCA and regulatory stuff alike, it can be, sometimes we really want to do stuff. Don't think that we don't push messages out because we simply don't want to. There's also an element of making sure that we can and legally say what we want to say. But I agree, I would love to see XCM burns promoted more. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but the only other company I see promoting burns for the most part, like Binance. And obviously, Binance in their history hasn't really cared about regulators. So would CM develop and offer a trading bot to clients? Potentially, yes. With bundles, it becomes easier for us to be able to offer those type of things, though us creating something and offering it is advice. And that would require, under that MiC umbrella, the ability to provide advice, which is something we won't have from day one. But providing bots to clients that leave out the advice, and just them being automated. But if you create the code that is buying in the background, even if there's automated triggers, can still be advice. But there are ways, without going too far down the rabbit hole, to do that. And yes, it is part of a Coinmetro future. How much volume do we generate through bundles? Don't have the numbers sitting in front of me. I think it's probably relatively small currently when we talk about our volume versus bundle volume, but it is increasing. I can tell it's been increasing. I've seen some spreadsheets to know that it's been increasing, but I don't know the exact number. But again, I'll see if I can get some of those in the cheat sheet for the next week's or the next month's AMA, and we'll talk about it. We're about 8 minutes shy of the hour, I think. We're pretty much through questions. So I do have to go pick up my daughter from school. So leaving a bit early might be a good thing. I have to say once again, though, it is Thanksgiving in the U.S. at least. So I'm going to say thank you for everybody for being here. I'm going to say thank you for all the great questions. Thank you for supporting us all these years and continuing to support us and kind of dealing through some of our hard times and also hopefully benefiting from some of the good times. So I'm going to give everybody a round of applause. Thank you very much. I hope that we are getting closer and closer to making sure that all that effort that you guys have put in is definitely going to come back to you. So thanks again. We're working as diligently as we can to make Coinmetro the best, not only that it can be, but just the best around. Still some work to do. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Obviously, buy a bit of XCM. Let's get to milestone 3 on that XCM raffle. Things are going quite well. Let's get out of that 5 to 8 cent range that somebody was already talking about. I know that some of our shareholders are coming back in the market, and that's going to happen over the next few weeks. So hopefully that's the catalyst that gets us out of that 5 to 8 cents. Have a great Friday, everybody, tomorrow, and a great weekend. And Deep Philippe, I will absolutely hit you up. So thank you, everybody. Have a great one. Talk soon. Cheers.